Dark Skies is an American UFO conspiracy theory-based sci-fi television series that aired from the 1996 to 1997 season for 18 episodes, plus a 2-hour pilot episode. The success of The X-Files on Fox proved there was an audience for science fiction shows, resulting in NBC commissioning this proposed competitor following a pitch from producers Bryce Zabel and Brent Friedman. The series debuted September 21, 1996 on NBC, and was later rerun by the Sci-Fi Channel. Its tagline was "History as we know it is a lie." Plot summary: the series presents the idea that 20th century history as people know it is a lie. It depicts aliens having been among humans since the late 1940s, with a government cover-up concealing their existence from the public. As the series progresses, viewers follow John Lingard and Kim Sayers through the 1960s as they attempt to foil the plots of the alien hive. The hive is an alien race that planned to invade Earth through a manipulation of historical events and famous figures, including most notably the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. In addition, the pair must stay one step ahead of Majestic 12, a cover government agency that has mixed motives. The show depicted a number of real-life 1960s personalities in the plot, such as the Beatles, Robert F. Kennedy, Jim Morrison, and J. Edgar Hoover. The series was cancelled before the end of the first season, due to low ratings. Although the last episode produced provides some form of closure for the series, with Kim Sayers becoming possessed by the hive and the head of Majestic 12 being apparently assassinated, the show's creators had originally hoped to create 5 seasons, as indicated by the show's Bible, or major planning document. According to Zabel and Friedman's original plan, the pilot and first season would cover the period from 1961 to 1969, the second season 1970 to 1976, the third season 1977 to 1986, the fourth season would cover 1987 to 1999, and the fifth and final season would break from the decade-spanning format to encompass the apocalyptic final conflict against the invaders, taking place from 2000 to 2001. The Hive: the series depicts the Hive as an alien species who are covertly invading Earth. They are a parasitic race of small multi-legged spider-like beings that can take control of host bodies, by attaching themselves to the brain. They do this by entering through orifices on the head, commonly the mouth, though they are also shown to enter by squeezing through the nose and ears, with great discomfort to the host. Due to the way they attach themselves to the brain's ganglion regions, the series protagonists dubbed the creatures ganglions. Various stages from alpha to delta occur which show varying degrees of the infection. Initial symptoms of takeover include drastic mood swings, behavioral abnormalities, and nervous breakdowns, as the parasite adjusts to taking control of the person's mind. Past medical records of a nervous breakdown are a telltale sign that someone may have been taken over. The gamma and delta stages are where the hive organism takes total control over the host, which becomes nothing more than a shell for the invading organism. Not all humans make acceptable hosts for the ganglions. Due to certain genetic factors, a minority of humans are incompatible with the ganglion's biology. These have been dubbed throwbacks. There are several cases where a group of people were abducted and taken over by ganglion parasites, but a throwback in the group wasn't infected and simply returned, often because it would be too conspicuous to kill them. Captured ganglion parasites have been injected with the blood of throwbacks, causing them to die in agony. The Hive is running various experiments to try to either eliminate throwbacks or develop more humans who are easier to control, such as growing cloned human babies in cows. Some time ago, the ganglions invaded an advanced alien race, dubbed the Greys, the typical depiction of a Roswell Grey alien. The Greys were a race not unlike humans, though they possessed technology making them capable of interstellar travel. The ganglion parasites invaded them in much the same way that they're trying to invade Earth now, and by the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. Thus, the Grey aliens seen abducting humans are really just as much a slave race or shells for the ganglions as the infected humans are. The Hive's language, THHTMAA, was developed by Reed College linguistics professor Matt Pearson. When the ganglions were evolving, apparently before they took over other animals as hosts, They had a natural predator slug-like creatures called buzzworms. They have actually brought samples of the buzzworms along with them with their ships, using them as a particularly gruesome means of executing their own kind. Cast: Eric Close. As John Lingard, Megan Ward. As Kimberly Sayers, J.T. Walsh. As Frank Bach, Tim Kellier. As Jim Steele, Connor O'Farrell. As Phil Albano, Charlie Lang. As Dr. Halligan, Jerry Ryan. As Juliet Stewart, guest real-life 1960s characters, James F. Kelly. As Robert Kennedy, Hansford Rowe. As President Harry S. Truman, Mike Kennedy. As Alan Dulles, Don Moss. As Senator Hubert Humphrey, Jack Lyndon. As Jack Ruby, Paul Gleason. As Governor Nelson Rockefeller, Joe Aller. As Dr. Carl Sagan, Don Most. As Dr. Timothy Leary, Ariel Blanton. As General Nathan Farragut Twining, Leon Rossum. As Admiral Roscoe H. Alenko-Etta, Wolfgang Bodisson. As Colin Powell, Gunter Jensen. As Captain Norman Schwarzkopf, Marilyn McIntyre. As Dorothy Kilgallen, Mitchell Ryan. As William S. Paley, Wayne Tippett. As J. Edgar Hoover, Gary Lockwood. As Chief Justice Earl Warren, Susan Griffiths. As Marilyn Monroe, Dennis Cragen. As J. Lee Rankin, Sam Whipple. As J. Allen Hynek, Robert Carradine. As Lonnie Zamora, James Lancaster. As Kenneth Parkinson, Carey Idle. As Brian Epstein, Jerome Patrick Hoban. As Ed Sullivan, Carmine Grippo. As Ringo Starr, Tim Michael McDougall. As Paul McCartney, Rick Anthony Pizzarria. As George Harrison, Joe Stefanelli. As John Lennon, Brent David Fraser. As Jim Morrison, Peter Van Norden. As Henry Kissinger. Episodes. Note: the episode in Human Nature was shown out of chronological order and should come after Ancient Future. The episode White Rabbit opens up with the Gulf of Tonkin incident on August 2, 1964, but it is a few weeks later after John visits his family and testifies to the Warren Commission when the rest of the episode takes place. DVD release. Following fan campaigns for many years, an announcement was made that Dark Skies would receive a complete series DVD box set release in October 2007. However, Sony Entertainment subsequently cancelled the release, citing prohibitive music licensing costs. Executive producers Bryce Zabel and Brent Friedman received permission from Sony to find a DVD releasing partner to put the series on the market. However, 3 independent DVD firms, while initially extremely enthusiastic about doing so, also backed away after discovering the potential costs involved in licensing the period music. Zabel told fans on his blog, "It doesn't mean the idea is dead, but it does mean it's not going to be easy. I'm as committed as I've ever been to seeing the series released on DVD so that old fans and new fans can have an excellent quality viewing experience, the way we always intended. Or maybe the conspiracy we wrote about is real and they just don't want the truth to get out." On January 11, 2009, Zabel reported that Brent and I aren't ready to say that's the end of it, but it's the end of the beginning. We're probably more disappointed than any fan out there. Region 2 distribution rights have now been acquired by Medium Rare, with the full series being released on DVD in the United Kingdom on October 18, 2010. On the August 9, 2010 episode of Coast to Coast AM, Zabel announced that the series would be released on Region 1 DVD by Shout Factory on January 20, 2011. The series has successfully been released in the US on 6 DVDs, including a number of special features on the last disc. The pilot episode was included in the last DVD as an extra CD soundtrack. To celebrate the show's 10th anniversary, a limited edition CD soundtrack was released on Perseverance Records in September 2006, featuring selections from the original television score composed by Michael Hernig and a previously unreleased pilot suite arranged by the X-Files composer Mark Snow. References. External links: Dark Skies at the Internet Movie Database.